Hello everyone and welcome to Anglab Pro. I'm Mo. We're going to continue our IELTS writing course for getting 6 with the second type of questions. This type is called discuss both views. Let's go over it. Now let's see how this type of question is formulated. Well, in the premise we have this. Some people believe A, an idea, while others say B, which is the opposite idea to A. So A and B are usually opposing views. And then the question asks, discuss both these views and give your own opinion. Let's see two examples. Well, the first one says, some people think that intelligence is innate, while others think that we can improve our intelligence through learning. Two opposing views. Intelligence is innate. It means you are born with a certain level of intelligence or smartness. And the second view is we can improve our intelligence through learning. It means this is not fixed. As we go ahead and we'll learn, we can improve our level of intelligence. And the question is, discuss both these views and give your own opinion. Let's go through another example. Some people believe that it is better to educate boys and girls in separate schools. This is the first idea. Others, however, believe that boys and girls benefit more from attending mixed schools. And it says discuss both these views and give your own opinion. So as you can see here, we have two opposing views, and then the question asks you to discuss both of them and then give your own opinion. Remember that both these views must be discussed. If you miss one of them, your task response will go to 5 or maybe lower. The second point is that these two views should be discussed separately. I mean, two different paragraphs should deal with each one of them. And then your opinion must be stated clearly. I mean that you should mention whether you agree with A or you agree with B. You can say that there is a mix of these two, or in some certain situations A is true and in some certain situations B is true, but it makes it more difficult. I wouldn't recommend you to do that in a writing with which you want to get 6. For 6, it is easier to go with just one of these two views. It makes it easier. Now let's talk about the way you should put your ideas into paragraphs in this type of writing so you can get 6. Well, like the previous one, you need to write 4 paragraphs, 1 introduction, 2 body paragraphs, and 1 conclusion. In the introduction, you should paraphrase the question. I mean, you should rephrase it, reword it with synonyms, antonyms, and a new grammar, and then you should express your view. I mean, you should say which one of those two ideas you agree with and which one of those two you disagree with. And as I told you on the previous slide, it's easier to agree with one of them and disagree with the other. In the first body paragraph, you should discuss the view that you disagree with. And here you should mention 1 or 2 reasons of the people who believe in this view, and you should say what is wrong with their logic, what is wrong with their reasons. And then in the next body paragraph, you should discuss the view you agree with. It means you should mention 2 reasons why you agree with that. 1 reason is not enough, and if you write 3 reasons, it will be too long. You wouldn't have enough time and space to develop those ideas in just 1 paragraph. So it's better to mention 2 reasons and develop those reasons. And how do you have to develop those ideas? Exactly like the way I explained in the previous video. If you have forgotten that, maybe it would be a good idea to review that video again. And then you should go to the conclusion. In the conclusion, by referring to your 2 reasons, I mean the reasons that you discussed in body paragraph 2, in the form of 2 phrases, you should restate your position. It means it is almost the same as what you had in the first type of writings. Here we are going to take a look at an example question, and then we are going to do a brainstorming of the ideas related to this topic. Let's begin. Of course, you've already seen the question in this lesson. Some people believe that it is better to educate boys and girls in separate schools. Others, however, believe that boys and girls benefit more from attending mixed schools. Discuss both these views and give your own opinion. So, separate schools for boys and girls or coeducational courses. I mean, boys and girls studying in the same school. Well, which one is better? If we want to go for separate schools, we can have these reasons: fewer distractions, improved confidence, less peer pressure, means pressure from classmates, and cultural and religious reasons. We know that in some religions, girls and boys having relationship with each other is not allowed. In mixed schools, better social development, breaks gender stereotypes, promotes equality, and more diverse options. It gives variety. So depending on which one we want to agree with, we will start with the other one. Let's go through it and then we will see the example written on the next slide. Now let's look at the sample writing. We are going to go over that paragraph by paragraph. But first, let's take a look at the question again. Some people believe that it is better to educate boys and girls in separate schools. Others, however, believe that boys and girls benefit more from attending mixed schools. Discuss both these views and give your own opinion. We are going to agree with the second view, I mean mixed schools. Let's see how it is written. The introduction. There is an ongoing debate about whether boys and girls should study in separate schools or not. Some people argue that single-sex schools help students focus better, while others think mixed schools are more beneficial. In my opinion, it is better that boys and girls go to the same school. As you can see in here, from the beginning, there is up to beneficials. We have the paraphrase of the question, paraphrase of the premise. And at the end, in my opinion, it is better that boys and girls go to the same schools. I have mentioned my own view. Now, the first body paragraph, which discusses the view we disagree with. Well, on the one hand, some people believe that boys and girls study better when they are in separate schools. They say that students will not get distracted and can focus more on their lessons. First reason. Also, it is said that teachers can use different methods for boys and girls because they sometimes learn in different ways. This was the second reason. And now I want to say what is wrong with these two views. However, I do not think this is necessary. In real life, people must work together and schools should prepare students for that. So you can see that in the first sentence, I mentioned the view that I disagree with, then I stated two reasons, and finally, from however up to the end, I mentioned what is wrong with these two reasons. Now we want to go through the second body paragraph where I discuss the view I agree with, I mean mixed schools. On the other hand, I believe that mixed schools are more helpful for students. This was the view that I agree with. Why? Boys and girls learn how to respect each other and work together from a young age. This helps to normalize the presence of the other sex in all situations, which is very important for their future, especially in jobs and relationships. My first reason. And it was actually discussed in two sentences. Also, mixed classes help break gender stereotypes. This was the second reason, and I want to develop it by giving examples. For example, showing that girls can be good at science or boys can enjoy art. This can help create a more equal society. And in the conclusion, we should state our own view again by referring to the reasons that we had in the second body paragraph. In conclusion, although some people think that separate schools are better, I believe mixed schools help students grow in a more balanced way. They not only learn academic subjects, but also social skills that are important for their future lives. This is a very good sample that can get something between 6 to 6.5 in the IELTS test. It is not written in a very difficult way. Of course, you should remember that. It doesn't have any mistakes, but grammatical or lexical mistakes. But even if you have some grammatical or lexical mistakes in such a writing, you can get still 6 to 6.5. You should remember that your writing doesn't need to be error-free. Some occasional mistakes, if the mistakes are not serious mistakes, there is no sentence there that is without a subject or without a verb, or the mistakes are not too many. it's possible still to get 6 or 6.5. Now let's take a look at some useful expressions that can be used in IELTS writing, especially in this type, task 2, type 2. Well, for the introduction, you can use these. There is an ongoing debate about. Some people believe that while others think that. It is often argued that. These are the expressions you can use for the introduction. For the first body paragraph, where you present the side you disagree with, you can use these expressions. Some people argue that. One common belief is that. It is said that. Supporters of this view claim that. And when you want to reject these reasons, at the end of the first body paragraph, you can use this expression. However, I personally do not agree with this idea because. For the second body paragraph, where you present the side you agree with, you can use these expressions. On the one hand, I believe that. I agree with the idea that. One main reason why I support this view is that. And furthermore, moreover, and in addition, all of them mean also. So that you can use them interchangeably. And for the conclusion, you can use these expressions. Although there are arguments on both sides, after looking at both sides, I believe that. And overall, I'm convinced that. These are good expressions. They are useful for getting 6. Remember that you should not use memorized sentences. These are good for getting 6, but for getting a higher score, maybe you should avoid using these cliches. It is better to write novel sentences from your own mind. But for getting 6, these expressions can be helpful because they will help you organize your mind and write better. At the end, let me sum up what we discussed here. Remember that for this type of writing, you have to write 4 paragraphs. The introduction contains the paraphrase of the question and your own view, which side you agree with. Then in the first body paragraph, you should discuss the reasons of those who believe in the idea you disagree with, and you should mention what is wrong with their reasons. Then in the second body paragraph, you should discuss the view you agree with, and you should bring 2 reasons why you agree with it. And in the conclusion, you should restate your position, and you should mention the 2 reasons you discussed in the second body paragraph in phrases. Remember that you should read the question very well. You should not go off topic. You should write about the topic. Even if you write a perfect writing, your grammar and vocabulary is at the level of 9, but you are off topic, you wouldn't get a score over 5 or 5.5. You should be writing just about the topic. And then remember that in this type of writing, the 2 ideas should be discussed separately. Do not mix the reasons of these 2 groups with each other. One paragraph clearly states the idea of the group you disagree with, and one paragraph discusses the ideas of the group that you agree with. And then remember that you don't need to be error-free. Some occasional mistakes are allowed, especially the mistakes that do not block communication. I hope that you've learned the lesson well. You can write some sample sentences with these expressions that you learned on the previous slide in the comments, and then I will just take a look at them and I will give you my ideas about them, whether you've written them correctly or not. Thank you for watching this video of EngLab Pro. Hope to see you again here. Bye.